What up, motherfucker? Happy New Year.
See, you stopped yourself. You were like, what up, mother? And then you caught yourself like, maybe I shouldn't say this. Yeah, fuck it. What up, motherfucker? All right. It's a new year. Not yet. Not for us yet. It's like the 27th, but
it's the first video of the year.
Yeah. And it's inspired by the new year. And our year's basically over. Christmas happened. Fuck it. It's the new year. Might as well be.
Might as well be.
And we're going to be swearing a whole lot more, as indicated by Trevor in his intro.
Hey.
And also, for the new year, I figured we would do something for potential new players. If you're trying to get into cEDH in 2026, the question I see the most is, what deck should I pick? What deck should I start with? Or what should I build? So, hey, we're going to go over some of the decks from like the top end of the format. Oh.
And the first deck we should talk about is Turbo Fusion. I feel like...
this is a cEDH podcast. What the fuck?
Oh,
that does look like a fun deck, though.
Oh, never mind. Okay.
There we go.
There we go.
There we go. So
I forgot
maybe
what
we'll talk about
on.
That'll be on the Patreon. We'll talk about the Yu-Gi-Oh shit at some point, just for fun, even though we hardly know anything about it. But we're gonna talk about maybe like 8 or 9 decks or so that we think are either actually beginner friendly or appear to be beginner friendly. And we're going to say, which ones might be a better choice than others. We've got the top EDH top 16 pulled up, where it just kind of ranks them commanders by popularity or wins. So we're going to pick relevant ones. If something's super beginner friendly, but it's like just never won a tournament or is not placing at all, I don't think newer players should play fringe decks. I think new players should focus on something that's relevant in the meta. It doesn't need to be the best deck, but I think somewhat relevant where you have a chance at winning and it has somewhat easy to grasp game plans and combo lines. So we can get right into it unless there's...
Yeah. What's first on the agenda, Ian?
I kind of wanted to talk about Kinnan right off the bat.
All right.
So let's see that. But you can see, based on top performing, there are a lot of first places. Yeah, Kinnan wins a lot.
A really good deck, and I think that's why a lot of first-time players are like, I should do Kinnan. I mean, it's easy. You just fucking drop some fucking rocks. You drop some mana dorks. You create a bunch of mana. You do some Kinnan flips and shit, and then bam, you win. But it's a lot harder than that.
Yeah, there's a little more to it. Let's pull up the most. Well, that's not the most recent.
Hold up.
Let's pull up do the last month. Yeah, let's just see Justin Brown.
The wrap up.
Actually, Evan Pierce does probably have one of the best lists.
Right. Well, you want to do Evan Pierce?
I think yeah.
All right, Evan Pierce.
He mixes it up a lot, but he usually typically has. So just for new players, or let's just recap it. So Kinnan is a green and a blue for a legendary creature, human druid, 2/2. And he has the static ability of whenever you tap a non-land permanent for mana, add 1 mana of any type that permanent produced. Essentially, it doesn't double your mana, but for the most part, it does. All of your rocks that tap or dorks that tap for 1 now tap for 2. Something like Soul Ring, instead of tapping for 2, it taps for 3. And then it has the ability, pay 5 and a green and a blue. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a non-human creature card from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So this card is insanely good at just generating a shit ton of mana, and then you can dump it into this ability. If you have nothing else to do, you can just start flipping big boys off the top of your library.
Can I point something out real quick?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
fucking the number of times I've been up against a Kinnan player and they've been like, I've got nothing else to do. I'm just going to do a Kinnan flip. And it's just a value Kinnan flip. I'm not going to do anything crazy. And they get like Consecrated Sphinx, Hullbreaker Horror, fucking Seedborn Muse, something like that. And I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? Oh, this is just a value Kinnan. Yeah, fuck you.
So when we say that, we do actually mean, because sometimes people are like, do you just win here? And I will say, I don't have a win in hand. I'm just gonna activate Kinnan. And then, yeah, sometimes you will just hit C. There's a high percentage of cards that can just win you the game. The thing I wanted to point out is the main combo piece with Kinnan, and why this is seen as such a beginner-friendly deck, is Basalt Monolith. So that's 3 mana for generic mana for an artifact that it doesn't untap during your untap step. It taps to add 3, and you can pay 3 to untap it. So with Kinnan's ability, it taps for 4, untaps for 3, taps for 4. You know, you do that infinite amount of times, and you're always netting 1 colorless mana. So you get infinite mana. Now that seems super easy. Like, oh, I have Kinnan in the command zone. I have a ton of mana, and then I just need to find Basalt Monolith. Now, his ability does require green and blue. So infinite colorless on its own does not quite seal the deal. And that's where I think it's still not super complicated, but there is a little bit more nuance where you have to have something like Thrasios, where you can filter the infinite colorless through Thrasios to draw your deck. And then if you're missing out on any additional rocks for colors, you can play those. Now you have new cards like Wan Shi Tong, where you can draw your deck by playing, close to the rest of your library into X. I'd never recommend someone drawing their whole library outright in one fell swoop like that. But yeah. And you know what? I don't agree with Cabbage Merchant in Kinnan, even though it's a great card, just because tapping the foods isn't netting you the mana. It's Cabbage Merchant's ability, and he's not tapping. So you don't get the additional value from Kinnan. Still a great card, but it's also a human, and you can't flip into it.
Yeah, it kind of just doesn't fit in Kinnan.
It just doesn't. It's still a great card. Everyone's been telling me, are you going to play Cabbage Merchant? Are you going to play Cabbage or the Badger Mole Cub? And I'm like, no. Both of those cards go directly into Rograkh, which we'll probably talk about at some point. But yeah, not to go too into things, but like sometimes Kinnan, it can be, the tricky part can be, when do you activate Kinnan versus when do you hold up mana for reactive plays? Do you reactively activate Kinnan? Do you activate him on your main phase? There's just a little bit more to it. I still think the basic game plan of you're only worrying about 2 colors. He's cheap. You can get him out, and you can just play your dorks and your rocks and get extra mana. And if you don't have anything else to do, you can flip Kinnan and, oh, I got Consecrated Sphinx. Look at that. I'm drawing a ton of cards. So, yeah, I'd put it in the middle of the road for now. We can rank these in order at the end or something from like most beginner friendly to the least. But for now, I'd put him right in the middle. I don't know how you feel.
I'm getting my notebook out.
Thank you. Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, please do, because... yeah, you know what? I'll do that on my computer as well. Because, all right.
Right in the middle.
Most beginner friendly, least friendly. Okay. And yeah, for right now, Kinnan's right in the middle. Well, there's not really any other spot to put him because he's the first one on the list.
Number one and... the bottom commander. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, is there anything you want to say? Like, what is... the thing that I guess new players would mistake all the time. Like, because
I think is I've seen so if you're gonna be a Kinnan pilot, don't build your own list. I see, like, at least not at first. Pick a winning list and use that. I've seen so many people that are like, hey, look at my Kinnan deck. And I see things like Thassa's Oracle in there. And it's like, no, you don't want that because it's a dead card unless you have drawn your whole deck. But then once you've drawn your whole deck, you win with things like Finale of Devastation, where you cast all your creatures and give them +1,000,000/+1,000,000 in haste and swing. Or you can force people to deck themselves with Very Mastermind and cast Endurance to loop your deck back in so you don't deck yourself. Or Cephalid Coliseum, you can do weird loops, and you can make infinite, if you Pongify and your Endurance and stack the triggers, you can create infinite 3/3 ape tokens. And there's a million things. You can copy your Hull Breaker and bounce everyone's permanents and spells back to their hand and force them to just give up. I mean, there's the actual finishes aren't, other than Finale, can be a little bit more tricky for a beginner player, but the Finale one's easy. But it's like the building of the deck, they'll just make bad card choices. They'll put in 2 drop dorks that tap for one of every color or tap for any color of mana, like Paradise Druid. And it's like, you have rocks for that. You have cheaper, faster things. They'll go really counterspell heavy. And it's just this like reactive deck. And it's like, Kinnan doesn't have great card advantage. You have mana and board advantage, but you're not, other than Rhystic and Mystic and some of your big creatures, you don't have, it's not like Thrasios in the command zone or Tymna or something where you can immediately start drawing cards. So don't build your own list quite yet. Pick a list that won a tournament and learn that, and then learn how the deck functions, and then make tweaks based on your personal preferences.
I feel like that is a good, just all around suggestion for new players, is that, because I know a lot of people have a sort of hatred towards net decking, but in this kind of format, you should not completely be net decking, but like, look up a deck online, figure out what it does, build around that. You can always swap out a card or two to throw in your pet cards. But like, for the most part, that's how this format like works. It's like you kind of just want to, like, for any new deck, like when I built my Kefka list, I looked at Comedian's list and I pretty much just like copied him and then started making edits, playing it, and then making more edits, and then being like, okay, now I know how this deck runs, and I can make edits based on how I know things work in the deck. So
that's a great point.
Don't be afraid to net deck. Even if you just completely take somebody's deck and then play with it, learn how it works, and then you can make edits to it.
Yes, that's what the best players do. It's not. You're absolutely right. The whole like fear of net decking or like this just like hatred of it. It's not. It's not like you're homogenizing the format in any way. Like, the decks are all very unique, and you could even look. I don't feel like doing it right now. It'll slow the pace down, but we've done it where we've pulled up 2 recent Kinnan lists or 2 recent Tivit lists. We've done that, and there's like 25 card differences between the 2. Yeah. So you're saying like even 2 of the same deck in a format that's very, very focused and optimized. There's still like 20 to 25 card differences between, 2 lists that both topped a tournament. So, like even like I was saying, Evan Pierce, he's one of the best players. I think he's at the top of the leaderboard in Top Deck, on Top Deck GG.
But this is Frenzy at the Falls.
Even I don't necessarily agree with
Can I
the
click on this?
Cabbage Merchant, but just because I don't agree with that, like all these other choices are fantastic. I also put Unagi of Kyoshi Island in just because, man, it's just another one of the it's basically like a Kraum.
Yeah.
And or that's not a Kraum, that's the second spell cast. It's a Fairy Mastermind. It's another Fairy Mastermind.
Yeah.
But it draws you 2 cards, and it has flash, and it's harder to get rid of.
I was thinking
you flip into it.
Karu.
That's the one that does treasures.
But then does it do treasures? I think you.
Yeah.
Oh no, you're right.
It does.
If an opponent draws and it's not their turn, you create a treasure.
Then he has weird stuff like this. He's always experimenting with stuff where it's like, huh? I'm sure there's might be a combo with this, with the Cypher.
I mean, that's the beauty of this format too. I mean, that's a
Disrupting Shoals and unique one. He's the only person that plays this that I've seen, but like that's maybe like it's another free potential counterspell if you have the exact CMC. But yeah, no, for the most part, like this would be a great list. This would be a great list to start with, or someone else's that's top to tournament. You're going to be fine.
Yeah.
I think that's the one last thing I would say about Kinnan is rule of thumb, at least that I have. People, if let's say you have exactly 7 mana or above, but it's like 7, 8, 9 mana, somewhere in that region. If you don't have counter magic up in your hand or like interaction and you're worried about someone else or you're just holding up to be safe, activate Kinnan on your main phase. I know a lot of people will wait until the end step or reactive before something happens, but what about getting something like Wan Shi Tong that now over the next 3 turns that your opponents take, you're getting to draw cards? Or if you hit Consecrated Sphinx, you're drawing 6 more cards just off of their draw steps, let alone any other extra cards. Same with Unagi. You might hit Hullbreaker and say, oh shit, I've got a bounce spell in hand or whatever, and I'll bounce my opponent's thing, but then I'll bounce my rock to my hand, and then I'll cast and then you can win right there. It's always good to be proactive in Kinnan. Do not be too reactive. There are times where you'll have to pivot to a more reactive game, but there's too many. Yeah, Nezahal, Nyx Bloom Ancient. Oh, well, that 1 extra, that 8th mana that I had is now 3 because it triples, and now I can go off and do this. I mean, there's just so many things. Seedborn Muse. Now I'm untapping on every person's end step. You know what? This list doesn't have fucking Seedborn Muse.
Well, that's crazy.
What?
Wait, what? A Simic deck that doesn't have Seedborn Muse? You gotta be shitting me.
So this is, if I was a new player, I would literally take this exact list, take out Cabbage Merchant, and put in Seedborn Muse. And you're probably going to do just fine. But we've spent enough time on Kinnan.
Enough time.
Yeah.
Let's
go.
Back it up. Next on our list. Now, hilariously, everything on this list are decks that I don't play, except one of them.
Well, you tend to play the more complicated ones. Like you're playing Tymna, you've played Tivit.
Actually,
there's a good.
Let's talk about Tivit for 1 second, because I feel like Esper in general is like. Here, let's do this. Past month.
And we always do this where we end up talking about Kinnan for way too long because I start getting excited because it's been my deck for, I don't know, like 5 years now.
December 7th or December 6th? Well, you're further. You're closer, so we'll go with your list.
Yeah.
So Tivit, this is just like Esper in general. I feel like Esper runs... This is my problem with Esper. I feel like everybody at the table assumes Esper is going to be the cop at the table. And half the time you are. So you're running really strong interactive pieces. You've got access to blue, so you have all the good counter spells. You have Into the Floodmaw as your bounce, and they're not running Chain, but Cyclonic Rift.
You've got your white silence effects.
Yeah, so Orin's Chance, Path to Exile, Silence, Swords to Plowshare, and then you got black for your explosivity. So you have Taint Pact, Cabal Ritual, shit like that.
They're running Ad Naz? This is an interesting Tivit list.
This is a really interesting list. Hold on.
What the fuck?
Let me look at this real quick. Because they're running Ad Naz. They've got Archivist of Ogma.
Yeah, they are low on creatures, right? Or no, Tivit doesn't have too many creatures.
16 creatures is about average for Kinnan.
This is a very interesting list because they have Opposition Agent, which usually Ad Naz lists, it's kind of like you're not really playing a control piece like that, but that's interesting.
Well, Opposition Agent's actually, I feel like, really good in your Esper list. Just in general, it's really good.
I think so, too.
I mean, I don't run it in my Kefka list. Mainly because it doesn't advance my game plan as much.
This is like a turbo Tivit list, I think.
Yeah. Tivit runs also, let's go down here. It runs things like Graph Digger's Cage, and this one's running Dampening Sphere. It runs Cursed Totem, Vexing Bauble, and yeah, so they run a lot of stacks pieces. I said I don't like considering Esper the cop at the table, but they do perform like the cop of the table all the time.
Check the other Tivit list. And not that I dislike this one, but that's a little bit more of the turbo route. Okay, already with the fact of that Planeswalker, and then we got Displacer Kitten.
Yeah, so they're running Displacer Kitten, Teferi Lines.
And Teferi, which are both great cards on their own. Toxic Deluge. Okay, now I'm guessing this one doesn't have Ad Naz. This one seems like more of like the typical,
which is pretty bad. Yeah, Ad Nauseam is not in this list. It's pretty rare to see Ad Nauseam in a Tivit list because you're running. I feel like you run more expensive shit all the time, but
yeah. Okay, this is closer to a traditional Tivit list in my opinion.
Dampening Sphere as well. I should. Maybe Dampening Sphere belongs in Tivit. I don't know.
So now, Dampening Sphere is like it prevents people from storming off.
You're not really storming off in Tivit?
No, you just kind of want to get your Time Sieve or Time Sieve, however you pronounce it, and then repeatedly swing and take infinite turns. Or Thassa's Oracle, Demonic Consultation, which if you have to pay one more mana for that, who cares if you're staxing out the rest of the table?
Now, I wanted to bring Tivit up, and I wanted to bring Esper up in particular, because I feel like for a new player...
It's not that easy
it's
for
not
an easy player
easy.
Or a new player.
Like when you are playing as this kind of control-y player... You kind of need to know the format a little bit more because you need to know when to use your Force of Wills and your Mindbreak traps. When is it a good time to overload a Cyclonic Rift, or when to Orin's Chance your opponent? Like, you need to know these specific moments. And you need to start knowing, like, specific choke points for certain decks. So, like, I feel like, just in general, maybe if you want to do Esper... Tivit's a good start, or Malcolm Tymna, I've heard, is a really good one. That's just like a kind of faster Esper.
So I want to say something about that. That's a great segue, and we could have done this with. We can do this with all of these as well. We could have done it with Kinnan, but I don't think there's any other Simic commanders that are really worth talking about. Not that there's zero, but I think. If you're going to play one, play Kinnan. But yeah. So my only issue with Tymna Malcolm is, so it's great because you have Malcolm, which is a mana generator in the command zone. It flies and it's a pirate, and whenever a pirate deals combat damage to an opponent, create a treasure token. Well, that's great. You're adding extra treasures and ramping. And then Tymna is the card advantage whenever you deal combat damage to opponent. At your post-combat main phase, you pay 1 life for each opponent that you did damage to, and you can draw that many cards. And it's great because you have the flyer in the command zone to get through with damage and be like an evasive attacker, and then you draw with the Tymna. It's really nice and simple in that regard, and they function really well together. But I've played that deck before, and I felt like I just couldn't fucking close out the game. I felt like I was like, man, I'm drawing all these cards, and I was like, man, I really just, all I have is Thassa's Oracle and Demonic Consultation. And now people could say like,
just an issue with Esper.
You're not playing the deck right, but I only had a couple I only played like 2 or 3 games with it. So I'm not an expert on that deck. I was probably doing something wrong, but I have heard other players convey that same sentiment, that
the other
you're just kind of drawing cards.
Esper is like, yeah, you're just drawing cards. You're just drawing interaction. Your game plan is usually Thassa's Oracle, which this deck is running. And for Tivit in particular, it's time save.
I like that Tivit having time save it's like, I like that Thassa's Oracle is almost your backup plan, which is it's a super easy backup plan to pivot into, but you have a commander-centric game plan for winning. I always like when you have a backup plan that doesn't need your commander, but your main game plan does surround your commander, and including the win con. Like with Kinnan, I have Kinnan out. I'm getting all this advantage because of it, and then I play Basalt and then a filter, draw my whole deck, win however I want. Tivit, you want to get Tivit out, but the other thing, this is why I think Tivit's a little more complicated, is because it's 6 mana. Those early turns, you're very vulnerable, and you're going to be wanting to play the types of creatures that are most going to slow your opponents down and also give you additional value. If you have an opening hand with something like Dranith and Lotho in it, that's great. You're going to get extra mana every turn, hopefully, because, opponents want to progress their game plan. And even if they don't, you've slowed them down because they don't want to give you treasure tokens. Then you can get Tivit out a little earlier, and then you're slowing them down with something like Dranith. Like, that's a good start, or something like Opposition Agent or a Ranger Captain to tutor up, a Mockingbird or an Esper. But also you have this as I can sacrifice this and silence an opponent at like a Rogsai that's going off, trying to win. So you've got a lot of options for, how the early game progresses. And I think that can maybe be a little confusing for a newer player, like getting to the point where you cast Tivit, surviving long enough, because if you don't get once you get Tivit out, I mean, it's pretty much the game goes downhill for everyone else. Yeah. But until that happens, that is the tricky part, I think. I think that's its biggest weakness for a new player.
I've just been staring at Tivit's art right now, and I'm just like, man, look at that
it's
weird
so good.
Sphinx pondering an orb with his fucking man's face.
What's really funny? I don't know why it reminds me. It reminds me of Comedian. He was one of the first people to be like, to push Tivit. It's not like he has that facial hair or anything, but there's something about it. It looks like if Comedian were to grow that facial hair and then have that expression, he would look exactly like that. I know that seems like what the hell are you talking about? But it's like, I don't know. It just reminds me of his face for some reason.
So would you put this above or below Kinnan? And we're just going to throw Esper in as it's going to be Esper / Tivit. So I
would say that it's less friendly. Kinnan's more beginner friendly.
Okay.
Yeah. So from most friendly to least friendly, we've got Kinnan and then Tivit.
Yep. And then, all right, let's fucking, that wasn't even on our list. What's next on our list? Yuriko?
Yeah.
All right, here's Yuriko. I just wanted to throw that out because we were talking about this before recording. I was like, this is probably a good thing to like bring up. So Yuriko doesn't perform that
this one's hard. Yeah, it doesn't. That's the problem. So I see a lot of people get recommended Yuriko because it's still, you're still using Yuriko in the same way. If you've ever played it in, more of a casual setting where you're trying to just get these cheap evasive creatures and then ninjutsu and Yuriko and pressure, your opponent's life totals with these big flips. It's surprisingly, because you can get that game plan going so quick, it's surprisingly still very effective in a cEDH meta. Like putting that pressure on your opponent's life totals where all of a sudden, oh, damn, we're getting hit for 10 mana out of nowhere. It's not nothing. But you're locking yourself into a game plan where you're doing something that's more of a casual, fun strategy where you're playing a lot of cards that something like Ornithopter and Phyrexian Walker and Fairy Seer and Change, like those all go really good with Yuriko's strategy, but they're not necessarily good cards on their own in a format that needs really good cards.
Yeah,
is the problem. And you play a shitload of them.
You're playing a lot of evasive creatures, a lot of changelings.
Now, hey, you get Mockingbird.
You did get Mockingbird.
An amazing card.
Where's Mockingbird?
But then all those other cards so far, other than Mockingbird, are all stuff that you'd only ever see in Yuriko.
Yeah, I mean, that's Oracle.
Okay, Orcish Bowmasters, that's his Oracle. So you're playing out of like 30 creatures, there's maybe 5 of them that are staples.
You got Roaming Throne, which is pretty good. This guy's playing Shadow of Mortality, which I like.
That's a big hit.
That's a big hit. I mean, that's the biggest hit you can get.
But, and Enter the Infinite, Temporal I mean, like, you're playing stuff, like, Dimir is like one of the best 2-color combos. I think Dimir plus, white for Esper or plus red for Grixis that's what really puts the stamp on it and makes it a cEDH viable color strategy, is having red or blue and black plus a splash color that ties everything together.
Yeah.
Because blue and black on their own, you have the most efficient combo win, which is Thassa's Oracle and either Tainted Pact or Demonic Consultation. But Yuriko, you have the card advantage because you put those cards into your hand, but the trick becomes, if I have a Vampiric Tutor and I have a Yuriko trigger, do I put a Thassa's Oracle on the top to try and start getting combo pieces? Probably not. But do I put a, Shadow of Mortality and I hit everyone for 15 damage, but then I have this card in my hand and it's like, this is fucking useless. That's a dead card now. It did 15 damage to everyone, which is really powerful, but then now it's a dead card.
Now all it is a 7/7.
I think Yuriko is, if you're okay with not winning as many games, but still feel like you're hanging at the table and able to do things, like, hey, I'm still having an impact on the game. I still get to do my thing. And like, it's because it's hard to stop Yuriko. It doesn't matter if you kill her. I mean, like, is someone going to waste a Swords to Plowshares on your Changeling Outcast? That would be completely insane. And then, so obviously, turn 2, you swing, you ninjutsu Yuriko, and you already start hitting people for a shitload of damage. I mean, yeah, you're going to be in every game, most likely. You're going to be able to get Yuriko out because you have a shitload of evasive creatures. It's super easy to get a land with 2 or a hand with 2 lands or 2 mana in it.
I'm going to say something, and it's going to give me a lot of flack. But like every time I've played a game of cEDH and there's a Yuriko at the table, I'm like, okay, good. I only have to worry about 2 players because I don't give a fuck about the Yuriko player.
Dude, I'm sorry. I feel the same way. Dude. You're not wrong.
Because like,
and it's not that they can't impact the game, though. That's the other thing. It's more so like, unless I'm playing ad nause, which I rarely do in like an actual tournament because I fucking hate the pressure of like resolving a post nause. And everyone's like, oh, you're going to stack your triggers correctly? And I'm like, oh, fuck, man. I have 30 seconds to figure this out. But yeah, anytime I've played against Yuriko, I'm like, whew, thank God. Oh, okay. Thank God. Now we just have, because they can still interact though. It's like, okay, we have another blue player that can still help police. You know, if there's like a Rograkh and a Yuriko at a table, I'm like, oh, those basically cancel each other the fuck out.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, not saying that they can't do anything because they're Dimir, so they just run a bunch of counter spells and like interaction pieces.
Yeah, and they're all of the ones that, because they don't care about ad nause, you get to play stuff like Dismember, which is 1 mana.
Oh yeah, Dismember is great. I love this
because
card.
You get to pay 4 life. You get to play shit like Spider Sense because you're always going to have tapped creatures, and you get to counter a triggered ability or an instant or sorcery for 1 mana. You have all the free Flare Denial, Fierce Guardianship, Force of Despair. You literally have all these free stuff that ups your CMC a little bit, because the types of things you should be tutoring for are these like Silver Bullet. I need a Deadly Rollick. I get to hit everyone for 4 damage, and then now I have a free exile target creature spell in my hand now. Those are the types of things, and then you set up a more protected Thassa's Oracle win, or you can just win with straight up aggro with Yuriko.
Yeah.
You can just pressure people enough, and if the game goes long, it's not the best deck in a turbo meta. It's not the best deck in a mid-range meta, but it's not terrible anywhere. It's kind of like, it's always going to be a little bit out of it's like the top of the fringe decks, in my opinion. It's like the best fringe deck that you can play, and that's why you always see it at tournaments. And it's not doing bad. I mean, I think top 16. I mean, 34th out of 230 is not bad.
Oh, let's look at the past year. 214 entries with a 12% conversion rate. That's not terrible.
Oof.
I mean, it's pretty low on the conversion rate. But like, it's not terrible.
No, it's not terrible. But you have a lot of top 16. I've noticed Yuriko is actually really good at getting to the top 16. But then if you're at a table with Blue Farm, Kinnan...
Yeah, I'm just looking at this right now. Like, you have a lot of third place Yurikos.
Rograkh.
But you have 1 second place and no first place in the past year with Yuriko.
Yeah.
I think is just an issue with Dimir. I feel like Dimir is the best color combination because black and blue, I think, are the best colors in cEDH. The issue is, I feel like it just falls short because it doesn't have, it doesn't have the other colors to support it, which then pushes it to be like really good. And that's why you run Esper, because then you have white for protection pieces. Or that's why you run Grixis, because then you can run Underworld Breach, and then all of your counter spells that you've been playing all game now can feed into your Breach lines. Or you can start casting them through Breach to protect your lines.
Yeah, you could even take you could play green and go for a more grindy.
Yeah.
game too. So I think that third color really ties everything together. I completely agree with Dimir.
Yeah, you could
struggling
add,
on
you
its
could
own.
add green, and you could play Glarb, and then you could just lose.
You could do that too.
Yeah.
I was thinking more of like Tevish Thrash, but sure.
Where do you put Yuriko on the list?
Yeah, so here's the thing. It's tough because I think it's more beginner friendly than Kinnan, but you won't win as many games.
I agree. It's more beginner friendly, but you won't win as many games. So it will go on above Kinnan. It's just maybe not the deck you should play.
Yeah. So do you want? Let's just rank them based on. Now we're going to talk about. Like just there, how we said, well, Kinnan's probably maybe the better choice. We'll rank them from most friendly to least beginner friendly, but then we'll actually pick like our top 2 or 3 or something that we actually recommend playing, despite their ranking on the list. I think that's a good way of doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, Yuriko is the easiest deck to get started with. I do think it honestly, I wouldn't be surprised that at the end of this, it is still the most beginner friendly.
Oh,
just because you're always going to get to do your game plan, even if it's not the best. It's almost impossible to just completely shut down Yuriko. I'm pretty sure it gets by Drannith. Not that Drannith is huge in the meta right now, but you don't even have to worry about shit like that because you're not casting You never cast Yuriko.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on. So
there it is.
We've got Magda on the list next. And this one is one I see people are on Reddit, in person, people are like, oh, just play Magda. And I'm like, Yeah, do that. You can even do past 3 months.
No, that's just,
if there's a first place or something, but this is probably fine.
This will have more of like what's in the meta currently.
True. So, I guess we'll read Magda really quick. It is 1 in a red for a 2/1 legendary dwarf berserker. Other dwarves you control get +1/+0. Whenever a dwarf you control becomes tapped, create a treasure token. And then it has the ability, sacrifice 5 treasures, search your library for an artifact or dragon card, put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. That tutor ability is massive. I mean, that is literally what you're doing to win with this. It's once again, I think it has it's the same issue as maybe Kinnan, but it's even easier to get the game plan going because you're like, I just have to worry about 1 color. I get my dwarfs out. I get Magda, who's also a dwarf herself. Look at all these 1 mana dwarf cards that are all absolute garbage on their own. But then when you're like, oh, tapping them gets me a treasure token, which is mana, or you get 5 and you get to tutor for whatever the fuck you want. Yeah, I mean, there are a ton of them. And then you have, shapeshifter changelings and other ones that tap themselves. And then another big thing, these artifact ones are actually part of the combo, and there's a ton of them. This is an artifact shapeshifter. Here's another one. Yeah. And then you have the, you don't have to necessarily attack with dwarves in order to tap them, because that can be a problem. Maybe those first couple turns you can swing, but then, opponents have blockers, but then you have vehicles. You can over accrue a vehicle. Like Clown Car is free. You can pay 0 into X. Even if you have 5 dwarfs out, and it has crew 2, you can still tap all 5 of those, create 5 treasure tokens, and then immediately tutor for any artifact or dragon. I don't think you ever tutor for a dragon unless it's, you know what? Actually, I play this dragon too. This is the only dragon I play in the deck, because it's a infinite outlet.
Solid.
But yeah, And then you even have stuff like these vehicles that have, some of them have flash. I don't see any of them on here. I have a couple that have flash in my list. But then you even have mana rocks like Springleaf Drum, tap to untap a creature you control, add 1 mana of any color, and you use it like a mana rock, but you're getting the treasure from tapping a dwarf every turn. So lots of synergy in here. The basic game plan of just count to 5 treasures, and that is super simple. All of your cards fit directly into your strategy. The big issue is once you get to 5, what do I search for? The combos, there's one that's not that complicated, but it's still a little rough. And then for a new player, and then there's a lot of the other combos in Magda are very convoluted, and I would never want to have a new player have to try and learn those. I think that's the biggest problem. Trevor, what do you think on that?
Well, I was wondering if you were going to go into the combos or just say, no, these combos are fucking terrible.
I can in a sec.
Yeah, I would agree. Because, Magda's essentially count to 5 treasures and then start tutoring up things, but then, I don't even know the tutor lines for Magda. You play Magda. I haven't.
So if you're trying to go for a win, so yes, Clock of Omens is the easiest combo to understand, but you still need, so this is the other thing. Sometimes people will be terrified and say, oh, well, they just get to 5 and they get Clock of Omens and win. But you actually need to have, the prerequisite is you have your 5 treasures and you have an untapped artifact dwarf. Yeah. So Universal Automaton works, Metallic Mimic, 3 Tree Mascot, Adaptive, any of those, Bark Form, and then, or actually a Roaming Throne is actually the best one if you have it, because it is the chosen type and it doubles the treasure production anyways. But what you do is you tutor out Clock of Omens, and it says tap 2 untapped artifacts you control, untap target artifact. So Clock of Omen enters, and you tap Clock of Omens and the Artifact Dwarf to untap the Artifact Dwarf. Well, since you tapped the Artifact Dwarf, you create a treasure. And now you have an untapped treasure and your untapped Artifact Dwarf. So now you tap those 2 things to target the Artifact Dwarf to untap again, which you create another untapped treasure. So you'll do this an infinite amount of times, and you have infinite tapped treasures. Now, the nice thing about that, and it sounds like, well, I can't use them, right? Well, Magda doesn't care. It just says sacrifice 5 treasures, not tap and sacrifice them. So then you can have unlimited tutors. And then the next thing you should get is something like Roaming Throne, because now you create 2 treasures every time, and one of them can always tap to untap your Artifact Dwarf, and then you have an untapped treasure. So now you have actually unlimited mana. And then I still play this in my version because I will play Magda for fun once in a while. I have the deck together, but I'm not a Magda expert. So I do play Realm Scorcher Hellkite. It's a dragon, so you can also tutor that out. And then you pay your infinite mana into its ability, which is 1 in a red, and it deals 1 damage to any target. So you just machine gun the table down, ping everyone to death.
Solid.
So that's the easiest one, but there are ones where you're playing like, it's been a while. This Battered Golem, whenever an artifact comes into play, you may untap Battered Golem, where you turn it into a dwarf, and then you keep I forgot. Oh my god, I'm bad right now with this.
That's fine.
And then Zorn, would you create more and more treasure token? There's all these other weird ones. There's ones that are like 13 steps long, where they're like, you have to go through this exact loop, but then eventually you'll get to a point where it's like it is deterministic. And then you'll do things like you'll play the One Ring and you'll tap it to draw a card, and then you'll tutor out your Cursed Mirror, I think Cursed Mirror, where it comes in as a copy of any creature or artifact.
Yeah.
And then you sacrifice the One Ring due to the legend rule, and then you tap the Curse Mirror to draw a card, and then you use Bark Form Harvester, I think. Yeah, put target card from the bottom of your graveyard on the bottom of your library. So then you tutor it out again, and then you keep looping the One Rings in the copy of it to draw through your deck, and then you slowly add in Lightning Bolt, and then you keep Lightning Bolt every... Dude, there's... Oh my god, just... If you need to know how complicated this deck is...
Oh yeah, the Magda Nomicon.
Magda Nomicon. And this is an incredible thing. The fact that these people threw this together is just amazing. But this is like this could be a dissertation for a fucking doctorate. I mean, look at all of these different things. Combo enders, combo starters, important combo adjacent. What if this is gone? What do I tutor for when? Staple cards, pseudo staples. And then, I mean, look at this.
Okay, so I think this is proof of enough proof that, like, if you're thinking about getting into cEDH, don't play Magda unless you have a master's degree.
I mean, it is just on a simple... So I have given this to a friend before and just said, like, hey, play along, I explained how they knew how vehicles worked, and I explained the basic game plan of get treasures, and then we'll tell you what to tutor for. And they actually, I mean, we walked them through it, but they ended up winning. I mean, it was a casual cEDH game, and without our help, of course, they were like, this is my first cEDH game ever. They wouldn't have won, but they won the game just making their own decisions, getting the treasures out. But then they were like, okay, what do I tutor for? And we had to walk them through everything. So it's like, it's so divisive. And it's like right in the middle where I'm like, I don't know. Because you could teach a player to memorize some of these combo lines, but I don't know. I don't think it's...
Where would you put this on the list, Ian?
This is so hard. Okay, so it's below Yuriko. I would rather give someone... This is where it's hard, though, because it's like... I think it's easier to get going than Kinnan.
Honestly.
But then Kinnan's easier to finish than those combo lines, so...
I think Magda is fucking ridiculous. I feel like Magda's... I personally would put Magda on the bottom of the list. I think it's the harder deck to get into when you're a new player.
Honestly, I'll agree with that. I'll put it as the least beginner friendly just because of the combo lines. And I know there's going to be people this happens all the time where someone's like, dude, you just memorize a couple combos. It's not that hard. Someone was telling a player that Anala isn't that complicated. And like, you just have to memorize like a 36 step combo or something. And it's like, yeah, that's not going to turn on a new fucking player.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. Yes, for someone like us, I've thought about playing Anala. It looks kind of fun. It's like, yeah, that's still intimidating to learn some of these more complicated combos, but yeah, sure. I'm more willing to dive into that. is it that hard at the end of the day? Like, is it, are we doing nuclear physics here? No, but we're talking about new players. Hey, I want to start playing cEDH. Yeah, play this convoluted fucking deck. Good luck. No, I don't. I don't think that's where it should be. So yeah, I'll put it last. Okay. I'm with you. And just to seal the deal on this, I would say that the other reason is it's so targeted. As a Kinnan player, I sit at a table with a Magda. It's similar to how you said with Yuriko, and I'm like, oh, thank God. Everyone's going to fucking hard target the Magda instead of me for some reason.
Yeah,
which is insane to me.
I mean, I would be more terrified of a Magda player than a Kinnan player if I was at the same pod with them. Like, obviously, I'd be terrified of both, but Magda can't do shit without Magda. Kinnan, I've seen fucking pop off without Kinnan.
It's hard. And you need to eventually get Kinnan.
Yeah. But, like, you can still do well without Kinnan.
You can still be in the game and survive long enough. Whereas, if you don't have Magda, it's like, oh, fuck, I need to get Magda back. It's like, and you know what my favorite thing to do is Gilded Draking a Magda. And then I have Springleaf Drum, and I'm like, I get to tap my Magda and get a treasure every turn. And now I don't have to worry about Magda winning. And they get so mad at me. But they understand. They're like, yeah, that was good. But this fucking sucks. And it's like, dude, I'm sorry. If it wasn't me Gilded Draking it, someone was going to Swords to Plowshares it before you did anything. I mean, that's another reason why I think it's not beginner friendly, because people will target you so hard. There was a new player in our weekly Blight meetup where they've since moved on to different decks and had way more success, but they started with Magda and they actually got better at learning the combos. It took them a while, but most players were like, they knew they were new and they're like, oh yeah, dude, if you get there, we'll walk you through it. But they were like, I feel like I only really get to play in like 2 out of every 10 games because people are literally just force of willing their Magda, Swords to Plowsharesing, bouncing it constantly. They're like, I'm like, I haven't been able to create a single treasure, which I think is insane. It's just way too targeted, but it is scary because it can look like it only has 1 treasure out, and then you flash in a vehicle on the end step and tap 3 dwarves, and now you have 4 treasures. Then you untap, that's on the end step. You untap for turn. I'll play an artifact dwarf and I'll tap these and I'll get out Clock of Omens, and they literally just win out of nowhere. And it's like, well, they only had 1 treasure and a couple dwarves. I mean, yeah, it can be scary, but yeah. So Magda's last for now. Sorry, Magda. You are loved.
Moving on to Etali, Primal Conqueror.
Okay, this is another one that I see recommended for new players, and I'm like, really? I don't know about that.
I'm going to be the person you disagree with, because I feel like Etali, first of all, Etali is a 5 and 2 red trample legendary Elder Dinosaur 7/7. When it enters the battlefield, each player exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card. You may cast any number of those spells from among the non-land cards exiled this way without paying their mana cost. And then you can transform him, which you're never going to do.
Although it did come up in a game in our last season cEDH league, where someone did actually transform it, because I forgot what was going on, but there was something, maybe there was a Draneth out that's like, well, I can't cast any of these spells, so I might as well just start swinging at people, and they were pressuring everyone's life total. They killed 1 player, and then I was at 9 poison counters, and then I was able to flash in a Mirage Mirror and make a copy of it, so I was able to at least just infinitely block it. And then they were about to kill the other player, who then went off on presented a combo win, and then I was able to force a draw by saying, if you do that, because it was their win was killing one player at a time, and I was able to Mirage Mirror and say, hey, if you put a win on the stack, I will kill you before yours goes off, and then basically whoever you choose to kill first, the other person will win, and it would be king making, so let's just draw. I mean, yeah, that's a weird scenario. Tangent, if you're playing our drinking game that we don't really have, but you can, where if we ever go off on a tangent, take a drink.
Make sure you drink responsibly.
I just wanted to say, sure, you don't have to, though.
I'm legally obligated to tell you that.
And I'm legally obligated to say you don't have to. But I just wanted to say it's not that you'll never transform it. They almost actually won by transforming it. But yeah, you pretty much never will. This is like the new day and age. This age's Godo, where you just have to count to 7 and cast Etali, because then you get to cast spells off of your opponent's libraries. Now, I think it's easy in the sense that this deck is just full of ways of making mana.
Oh, yeah. It's ridiculous how much mana they can produce easily.
But, so I don't think that getting to the 7 mana, I mean, I've seen Etali consistently come out turn 2, and I've played games multiple where I've lost to it on turn 1. Multiple. And I thought that like a turn 1 win was like that. And for the longest time, you actually had the only turn 1 win I've ever seen, where you had you were going second and you played Gemstone Caverns, Lotus Petal, and like a command tower, and you had Thassa's Oracle, Demonic Consultation in your opening hand.
Yeah. And then you started playing Etali.
And then Etali came into the format, and I was like, actually, I've lost multiple times on turn 1 to Etali. It still everything has to go right, and there is an element of randomness since it's determined based on what's on the top of your opponent's libraries as well as yours. That is where the complicated aspect can come in, where which cards are you casting? Sometimes it can be beneficial to not cast a card if it's not actively helping you. And like an Underworld Breach, if you can't actually benefit off of it, giving that back to, like a blue farm player and having an Underworld Breach in their graveyard at the end of, where they can Savine's Reclamation and get it back, that's actually worse. It's better leaving it in exile. I think it can be a little hard to put together wins using other players' cards. Sometimes. I think that's the trick with Etali.
Yeah, I would say, like, overall, I think it's an easier deck to... It is and it isn't an easy deck to get into, because, like you said, all you gotta do, count to 7, play Etali, and then find ways to copy Etali. But you do need to know the format a little bit, and be able to understand, like, the cards that your opponents are revealing, and, like, how to sequence them to get you the best outcome, and like what they actually do, what you could tutor for and shit. Or I think you need a little bit more than just counting to 7 to pilot this deck. This deck also has a very volatile this deck also has a very volatile win rate, because it is an explosive deck. It is a turbo deck. It is, like, I think the fastest turbo deck in the format. So, like...
Which is insane. I think it's hilarious that the fastest decks have, in, like, the past, 2 years, have both been 7 mana commander. Because Carrick was, for the longest time, the only other deck that would... again, not super consistently, but was like, it wasn't out of the question to win turn 1. Like, can Rogsai win turn 1? Sure, but you're really going for a turn 2 win. Etali absolutely can win turn 1. Karik could absolutely win turn 1.
The problem is when you get to those games that start dragging on and people are like constantly killing your commander and then telling you, no, you can't activate your fucking Etali, or they're playing shit that's just making it hard for you to combo off. Like, what is it, Vexing Bubble? You can't cast spells for free anymore, so then it just shuts off Etali.
Yes, Vexing Bubble. Oh, yeah. But you have all these ways, like you're hoping, you don't want to flip into Devastating Onslaught, but this is another create X tokens that are copies of target artifact creature. But you want to flip into your Molten Duplication and your Twin Flames and Electro Duplicate, all those cards that say, and Heat Shimmer, that put a token copy of this into play. It gains haste because you don't care. You just want the ETB trigger. And even though it dies to the legend rule, you don't care. I guess the easiest way to win for a new player
Steelcaster
would be so Dualcaster Mage. That I've heard people taking that they take it out because they're like, I just never won with it. But I do think the Dualcaster plus any of those token copy cards that are already in your deck, I think it's still worth running because you play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. Are there any more? Not that I know of. Are there any instant speed ones?
Those 5.
So you have 5 that would just instantly win you the game with Dualcaster Mage. So I figured, screw it. You might as well run it.
Yeah.
But I think the easiest way of winning is actually just doing the Food Chain combo. So you get Food Chain, which you remove a creature you control from the game, and you add X mana of any one color, which is 1 more than that creature's CMC. And then you get your Squee, the Immortal, which can be cast from exile, graveyard, wherever. And then you get unlimited creature mana, and you just keep casting Etali and then exile it to Food Chain, recast it because you already have the unlimited mana. And then you just exile your opponent's entire libraries. You don't even have to cast any of the spells. You just exile everything. So
that is also the easiest way because I've seen people win off Food Chain without even using Squee. You're just constantly casting Etali, sacking it to Food Chain, sacking any creatures that you get off the top of anyone's libraries to Food Chain, and you keep playing Etali until you fucking can get into your win. Like, it's...
And then you eventually hit your Squee and then you go infinite. Yeah, it's like, it's non-deterministic, but you will almost certainly hit enough creatures, at least most of the time, to be able to keep casting it. But I think that's the easiest way because it's like, okay, exile everyone's libraries, pass the turn, they all lose on their draw step.
Where are we putting Etali?
So... Yeah, you know what? Where would you put it?
Honestly, I would put it between Yuriko and Kinnan. I would almost rather give somebody
that's
an
exactly
deck than a Kinnan deck.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And I think when we get to the end, I will say that I would have rather someone, if there were like, hey, I want to have an impact, I would rather give someone Etali than Yuriko, even though Yuriko is more beginner friendly with its strategy, because you can get it going very fast. If you aren't good at sequencing explosive plays, because a beginner player might take, you're probably not going to be hitting those turn 1 Etalis. You're probably more along the lines of, okay, it takes me a little longer to get there and I get Etali out on turn 3 or even 4 if you're a newer player, because you're just, maybe you're not aggressively mulliganing and you're like, oh, I see a Birds of Paradise and a Ragavan. So, okay. And it takes you a couple extra turns to, get enough mana for rituals to get Etali out there. But eventually you'll learn how the deck works. You'll be able to go faster. And but I think it'll just take a little bit longer to learn than Yuriko. But yeah, I like where that's at. Let's keep moving, and let's go on to Rograkh.
Yep, Rograkh is our next. Let's see, past month.
The reason I put this on here is because I see a lot of new players say, I want to do a turbo deck, or they see that this is winning a lot of games, it has a great conversion rate, and they're like, I want to play Rograkh. That looks really fun.
This might not be the best Rograkh list to jump to. They're only running 6 creatures.
Wow. That's typical, to be honest, actually.
Well,
I'm surprised they don't have Orcish, but I've noticed that players are even taking out Orcish Bowmasters.
How many lands do they have?
So,
22 lands.
Probably, oh my God. That is the... Jesus Christ, man. I thought when they were going down to 24, that was crazy. 22? What did they place?
This is 3rd at Valley of the Falls.
Oh, God. Well, 22 lands, so they're just... they're really pushing about how few lands. Okay, so...
Frenzy at the Falls, not Valley at the Falls.
I will just come right out and say that this is not a beginner-friendly deck. It's one of the... It's probably going to almost always be in the top 5 best decks in the format. But you need to know what you're doing. You can't just pick up Rograkh and say, okay, well, I know I can win with Thassa's Oracle or Underworld Breach, right? You don't have any card advantage in the command zone. The only card that you're getting, you're basically playing a 0 mana commander that has no relevant abilities that gives you, and then you're playing another one that you'll almost never cast, just for the black and blue color combination. Now, there's a reason it's one of the best decks in the format, is because having a free commander turns on all of the free spells. You get Deflecting Swat, Fierce Guardianship. If you want Flare of Duplication, you get, I don't see them playing it, and probably because it's an ad nos list, but if you wanted to, you could play Deadly Rollick. And then you get all of those rituals that say sacrifice a creature, add a bunch of mana. So you've got your Calling the Weak. You play on turn 1, you have 4 mana.
You have your...
From having...
Infernal Plunge. Your Diabolic Intent. For a sacrifice tutor. It's another demonic tutor. I mean, yeah. You have super explosive plays where you get to turn your free commander into an absolute rush of mana, and then you're really hoping to resolve either a ad nauseum to try and draw as much of your deck as you possibly can and chain that into a win, or you're trying to resolve a Necropotence. Yep. And then that usually goes into an Underworld Breach. And your Breach will inevitably... Well, the Breach is your... Because they don't have any other win cons. It's literally Thoracle. Or you can...
Well, you could do Brain Freeze and LED with... Let's say you lost your Thoracle. You could still win with your Breach.
They have... Let me see. Yeah. You can mill everyone out with Brain Freeze. Or you can win with Thoracle. It's one of the two. And then... they're running Chromatic Star, Paradise Mantle. Paradise Mantle is more par for the course. Vexing Bauble. Interesting. And then Defense Grid.
Just to avoid free counter spells, yeah.
I want to point out Defense Grid I almost cut from my Kefka list. And then I was one time going through a Breach line, and I was like, everyone keeps drawing cards because there's Rhystic Studies on the field. But like everyone's tapped out, so I'm just waiting for them to play a free spell. And then I got a Defense Grid out on the field. I'm like, let's play this. And then I was like, okay, I think we can safely say you win the game. I'm like, thank you. That's where it's, or like usually you're playing it. People will often play it
too early, and they'll be like, okay, I'm going to go off next turn, and they play a defense grid, and it's like, ooh, okay, be careful, because you might have just opened up someone else to winning.
No, so like defense grid is the same as like Dosen or Teferi, where you don't want to play them and pass them. This is a PSA for all new players. These are cards that you keep in your hand until you're about to win, and then you play them. They're not your Grand Abolishers or your Voice of Victories. You can't just play them and pass them. You got to keep them in your hand and wait for your window.
Now, yeah, like it's not easy to resolve Necropotence or Ad Naz as a newer player, because you're going to have a boatload of cards. You're not going to know how far do I go. I've seen new players that are too afraid to go too deep, and they're like, well, I'll stop where I have 20 life left. And it's like, you didn't draw enough cards. You got to go all out.
You got to go all
out. Or they'll go way too far. They'll go and they'll be like, okay, I have 3 life left. And it's like, well, you have a City of Brass, a Mana Confluence, and a Vampiric Tutor, and a bunch of other cards. You're not going to be able to... A lot of your other things result in you paying life. You're going to kill yourself before you're able to get through that. So, yeah, it's... all of the cards are hyper fast, and you don't have any, like... this one card will carry you. It's kind of like you're probably casting on the turn that you win, 5, 10, maybe more spells, chaining them all together in order to get, and sometimes the lines are so tight where it's like, okay, I post Naz, I have this much mana available, and I don't have any of my combo pieces, but I have to play a Mox Amber and then tap that for and then Infernal Plunge, sacrifice my commander, and then chain that into a Jeska's Will for more mana, and then use this 1 black to Demonic Tutor to search this, and then I'll chain a Vapor the Mox Amber back to hand, as well as some of my other rocks, and then I can replay them. And experienced players will love playing this deck. They'll feel like they're flying by the seat of their pants, chaining all these cool spells together. But a newer player might not. They might literally have wins in their hand all the time and just not be able to see them. I think that's the main issue. Is you're going to have a literal win in your hand and be like, well, I don't think I can do it. So I don't know. Where do you put this?
So I think Esper is definitely easier to play than Grixis Turbo. So I want to put it between Esper and Magda.
Yep. I was honestly, I was thinking that too. That's perfect. Now, little caveat. I will say, if you like the idea of doing Grixis Turbo and you want a slightly more beginner-friendly list, try something like Kefka. I think Kefka can still go really fast, but you have an actual card advantage commander in the command set. You actually have a game plan that doesn't resolve around something that's literally just 0 mana, and I have to chain together all these crazy spells. We can take a quick look at Kefka. I didn't want to put it on the list. Because I don't see a bunch of new players running to that. I wanted to make sure that we discussed Rogsai because so many people bring it up. But just to show a quick comparison, do the 6th place, Anthony Rice. That's perfect.
Anthony Rice. 3rd place, you know. Oops. Said 6th. Okay, so
Kefka is, you actually have something that group slugs your opponents. It's a little bit bigger and beefier, so you have not really a beater, but like kind of. You have a bigger card, and you still get to play. You're not as heavy on the ad nauseam game plan. Maybe some lists don't play it at all, and you get to play a little bit more value in those colors, because Grixis is still one of the best 3-color combinations in cEDH. I think it might be the best, but you get to actually play a bunch of these good creatures, unlike something
they're playing
like Rograkh.
Curiosity.
That's interesting. This is definitely an interesting list.
They're not on Curiosity. They are on Waste Not. I don't think Waste Not.
Just a value VV.
I will die on this hill. I don't think Waste Not is good in this deck. Like, sure.
I think it's just not good enough for cEDH, is my thing.
Well, what is it? Whenever an opponent discards a creature card, create a 2/2 black zombie creature. And whenever an opponent discards a land card, create 2 black mana. Whenever a creature opponent discards a non-creature, non-land card, draw a card. So it's like, it's a value piece. You're either creating zombie, you're generating 2 black mana, or you're drawing cards from your opponent's discarding things. And I get...
Now, I noticed this deck is way more on the... Because they have tiny bones.
It's got tiny bones.
So they're a little bit more...
2... It's only at 3? What is it missing? Is it missing?
It's got some clones.
Clone? I can't remember how many clones I wrote.
It's got 4 of them.
It's got 4? I think that's it. Yeah. It's got, you're running Displace Good. This one's on VV. It's not on Curiosity. It's just value VV.
This one is more of all in on Kefka, because you've got the Displacer Kitten, you've got the Go-Go, you've got the Harmonic Prodigy.
What is this? I've never seen this.
The Anger you're trying to get.
Magicite. Exile each opponent's graveyards. When you do choose up to 1 target creature card, exile this way, create a token that's a copy of that card except it's an artifact, and it loses all other card types. Okay. Interesting. I don't know what you do with this card. This guy's also on Saw and a Half.
Maybe they're playing it for because it has a Kefka art on it, and maybe they're like, hey, I just kind of want to have a fun.
This guy got
Kefka
3rd in a
themed card.
10K. I don't think he just put in a card for the S and Gs. He got 6th. Oh, you were right. He did get 6th. Why did it say it's a 3rd right here? 6th place, but I'm confused.
Oh, maybe it's basically you're saying I think you get a bronze medal, which is like essentially 3rd, because first place would be the winner of the top 4. Second place would be places 2, 3, and 4. Like that would be your silver medal, since you lost at the top table, and then the top 16.
Gotcha.
I think that's what essentially the methodology behind that is. But yeah, this deck is definitely all in on the Kefka triggers. I think that there's a version. I actually would, if I was going to play the deck, I would want to do this one, because I am all for saying, fuck it. I want a Hullbreaker Horror. I want to bounce my Kefka, get as many triggers as possible.
Wait, they are running Hullbreaker Horror. Okay.
There's also a version that you can do more of a Grixis good stuff that's closer to Rograkh, but it's a little bit more mid-range, and then you have Kefka in the command zone.
I need to make an announcement. Fucking please stop commenting that we should... I need to be running infinite combos in my Kefka list. I get it now. I'm running Hullbreaker Horror. I'm trying it out. Now you can comment on how much of an idiot I was for not doing that in the first place.
I don't think people have repeatedly. I think it's slowed down.
It's slowed down, but like to a point, it was like
episode.
Every week or so, someone would be like, "You could be doing this with infinite."
It would be
mana.
another one,
and then somebody just was like, "You're an idiot for doing this." I'm like, "Fine, I'll run it. I don't care."
I don't think anyone said you were an idiot.
They inferred it with their language.
A bombastic fool, perhaps. They inferred. Well, you know what? You took that to heart.
Okay.
You didn't need to.
I didn't need to.
All right. So I just
individual.
wanted to do a little pivot on Kefka to say that if you did want to go Grixis, Kefka, we don't have to really rank it. I don't know. I just think it's a little easier than Rograkh.
It's definitely easier. It's
okay.
Okay, Najeela is the next on our list.
Oh, actually, I wanted to. Here's another one. Let's skip Najeela for now. Let's do Blue Farm.
Yes, because
here's the other thing.
Grixis, why don't you just add white and play Blue Farm?
Yep, there it is at the top of the list. This is the best deck in the format. And I guarantee you there's a shitload of first places, even in the past month. Because that's what this deck does. It wins.
It just wins.
You're playing 2 commanders that both draw you cards and give you access to the 4 best colors in the format, at least if we're talking combining them. I think green might be, if you had to just rank them individually, I'd say maybe green is the worst color, like the least powerful color in cEDH. But
no, are you kidding me? Green has, hold up.
When combined with the right strategies, okay, well, what would be the least likely to monocolored deck to win?
Okay. Okay, we're talking about least monocolored deck or like least powerful.
That's what I'm saying. Without combining it. Now, when you add green to like blue, you get stuff like Kinnan, or if you add green to a blue-red, then you get like all these Gaia's Cradle stuff. Like, I think green, it really only adds.
Because you have Lumira in green, and Lumira
is the weakest?
Kicks ass sometimes. What is like mono white?
Yeah, I guess mono white.
Mono white's got Heliod.
But white, yeah, I think white is the best support color though, because you have Esper, all of this Esper Sentinel. You have all of the silence protective effects like Grand Abolisher, Voice of Victory.
Yeah, you get Ranger Captain,
all the silences.
You get Savine's Reclamation, which goes really well with fucking Breach.
Get some great tutors. So, yeah, we don't have to go into a whole debate. There's a reason this is the best deck. And it's running 4 amazing colors that, in combination, I think if we're talking about adding one more color to Grixis, if you're going to pick the better of the 2, you're better off adding white for all the silence effects and tutors as opposed to going Grixis plus green, which is one of my favorite color combinations. I really do like Sans White. I used to play Thrasios Vial Smasher all the time. I am since broken off to other things, but I may go back one day. I think it is a really fun deck. It just sucks that Vial Smasher doesn't do anything. But but enough of that. Let's talk about Blue Farm and why I think this is actually one of the sleeper beginner decks. And sometimes it can be hard to be like, hey, I don't want a net deck. I don't want to just play the best deck in the format. It has the 2 most efficient best combos in our format, the Thassa's Oracle Breach lines. You've got access to all of the best cards, and it's hard to like draw a hand with this and be like, oh, I don't know if I don't really know that well, so I'll just keep this because I have enough lands. I have a Ragavan and a Lotho and a Simian Spirit Guy. Okay, you're good to go. I have a Mayhem Devil and a Professional Facebreaker and a bunch of mana. Okay, you're probably going to do fine. You got enough to get Tymna stuff going, and once you get enough mana, now you're drawing a shitload of cards. I mean, this deck is good at everything. It's annoyingly good at everything because it will be able to win on turn 2 with an early Ad Nauseam or like a Gifts Ungiven line. And it can also just grind in these super long matchups because, well, I'll just keep drawing cards in the background passively, and every turn just swing with a couple creatures because you have stuff like, Dragon's Rage Channeler. It's filling up my graveyard for Breach, but I'm also hitting with a flyer. And if, this opponent's open, I might as well swing with my Fairy Mastermind while drawing extra cards. You get to play every passive draw effect. Esper Sentinel, Fairy Mastermind, Kraum, Tataru, and Treasure Effect, Lotho, where you're just sitting there with getting to hold up mana for counter spells, and all of your creatures go into the Tymna the Weaver plan, and they generate you other shit. It's like so annoying how good this deck is. I fucking hate it. Blue Farm, fuck you. You are the best, and I hate you. And I will always be second best with my Kinnan list, or less. Not in my own mind. In my mind, Kinnan's the best ever, and fuck you, Blue Farm. But at the end of the day, this is the best deck in the format, and I don't see anything for a long time beating it.
Yep. It's the card quality of it. It's just super high. This guy's running Trick Bind.
I think that's a great include.
As I said, the card quality is really
amazing
high.
Card.
I just look over and I'm like, Trick Bind. Okay.
I mean, I do think this is the best. If you had to pick activated ability counter, I think this is the best version of it. It can't be countered because it has split second. And that, if you're doing it to a Kinnan or I can't think of something, or like a Magda, they can't activate it again because it stops them from activating that permanent's abilities for the rest of the turn. I think it's the best version of that card. And if you're playing, you have a 98 card deck and 97 other incredible cards, might as well play Trick Bind if it's slightly less, catch all than some of the other stuff. Maybe take out a Dispel. They don't have Dispel. Take out your Dispel and throw in a Trick Bind.
All right.
Final Fortune. I mean, God. Intuition and Gifts Ungiven lines where you just search up, hey, which cards do you want to get? I'm going to get a Breach, a Savine's Reclamation, and a Lion's Eye Diamond. Feel free to give me whatever you want. I'll be winning with Breach regardless. It can go fast. It can go slow. I think maybe the only difficult part about this. Oh, and you get to play all the Mystic, Rhystic, Mirror Maid to copy those, or copy an enchantment to get even more copies of Rhystic Mystic, and then Smothering Tithe. All just passive. Fuck you and give me a shitload of stuff. You can even play low land counts because you don't have to go super explosive. If you end up getting a turn where you can cast an early Adnos, great, but you don't have to. You don't even care. The only hard part about this deck for a new player is managing 4 colors. But honestly, it's not even that complicated. Half your shit creates treasures, and you have rocks that tap for any fucking color. You have lands that tap for any color. Exotic Orchard, Command Tower, City of Brad. I mean, you're going to do fine. I mean, honestly, I think this might be the most beginner friendly. And I think that's why you see it topping so many tournaments, because I feel like even great players will win all the time with this. But even players that are like, I'm a little bit newer to the format, I think you're still going to do good with this list.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think the card quality is really high. Also, listeners probably can hear a cat. Nala is screaming in the background, so I decided to pick her up. So she's joining us for this recording right now.
Oh, yeah. Diego was sleeping soundly next to me until he decided to beg for pets, which I gave him. And then he went out in the hallway and just started meowing like crazy. Well, then he kind of found something and ran off. So, yeah, we'll try and edit it out. If not, then say hey to our cats. But, yeah, honestly, do you have anything else to say about this one?
No, I think the card quality is so high, and like, it's honestly there's a reason it's the best deck in the format. Do you want to get down? Okay. Ugh. And yeah, I think if there was a new player at the table, and I wanted them to do well and also be able to learn how to play the format, I'd probably just give them a pretty simple blue farm list, and then be like, "Here, just go off." Like,
just a very not a super niche blue farm list, because I know there's different archetypes of it, but this list that we're looking at now is pretty standard. They've got a couple things like the Flame Scroll Celebrant. I do actually like that. That's a cool include, because you stacks out someone repeatedly activating abilities, and then you have a silence on the other side of it. Yeah, I think that's mainly why they're playing it, for the extra silence. But then you have weird things like Mayhem Devil, which is a great stacks piece and kind of locks down the board. Especially it shuts down Magda players. It's like, all right, activate Magda, and she goes bye-bye. They're definitely very treasure heavy. Stormkiln, Professional Facebreaker, Tataru. I still think this is an amazing list. I do like that they are going treasure focused. It's an interesting. I might, maybe for a beginner player, I might swap those cards just for a couple more just generic staples. But yeah, I would put this right between Yuriko and Etali, just because do I think this is the better deck to give a beginner than Yuriko? Absolutely. But I think if you're talking about just how easy is it to play, I think it's slightly easier than Etali, because you don't have to rely on your opponent's cards and certain stacks pieces shutting you down. And then I don't think it's quite as easy as just, hey, get a evasive creature and start hitting people with Yuriko. I think that's easier for a beginner player, but that's just me.
All right, I'm just editing the list a little bit because I didn't give myself enough space between things, so I'm rewriting it right next to it.
I have it actually on a notepad, or like a notepad document on my computer.
That's fine, Ian. I like to do my things
I'd put it right
analog.
between. Fine. Well, I'm just part of this digital age. Actually, no. I'm with you, man. I actually, Jamie and I just bought planners, I haven't used one in a long time, but I'm so busy now that I'm like, you know what? I kind of want a nice hardcover planner, like notebook that I can just write in all the stuff and color code it based on dates and what I have going on.
I've always hated using a planner. I remember in school they always gave me one, and then I threw it away.
Oh, well, yeah, the ones they give you in school, you're like, fuck you. I don't even want to be here. And now that I'm an adult, I'm like, yeah, this is actually really useful. But I will, unless you have anything else to add, I will move on to the next one while you're rewriting that list.
No, I'm done. Let's go. Let's fucking move.
Okay.
Or as my girlfriend would say,
we should probably, let's
fucking hizzy.
Let's fucking hizzy. Okay, what is next?
Are we skipping Najeela?
I want to put that last.
Okay. Then it would be TNT.
Because here's another one. Yeah, I wanted to talk about TNT. I think it's... this one's going to be... Okay, so in the past couple months, they've got a lot of... See, this is exactly what I was going to say. It's like another 4-color combination that's really good, but it's just not quite as good as Blue Farm. And as you can see, instead of having all first places, you have second, third, fourth, which is hilarious because it's like you have all these, like, oh, I was so close. I was literally right there next to them, but I just lost to Blue Farm. Yeah, I think so. Again, you have two commanders that are, you have Tymna again, and you have a slightly more proactive, or I guess you could be reactive, but it's less passive than Kraum. Kraum, you just cast him, and then you leave him there, and he'll draw you cards if players are casting multiple spells. Thrasios, you actually have to pay mana into in order to get that card draw. But the scry beforehand and looking at it and saying, no, I'd rather take a look at the next card instead, is really useful. It's only 2 mana. You can get them out really quick. But you're leaning more into the green strategy of being a little bit more grindy. You're not as explosive because you're playing more dorks in order that are going to get you mana the next turn, as opposed to rituals that get you a bunch of mana right now. This is an interesting Charismatic Conqueror and Ocelot Pride. Those are cards that you sometimes see in like Marnius. Oh, you know what? In Badger mode, they're doing Gaia's Cradle stuff.
Oh, no shit.
They're on a Boro Breeze color.
You're telling me a green deck is using Gaia's Cradle?
Yeah, well, yeah, but of course they're going to play that card. But are they? A lot of times you don't necessarily see a Boro in it now. I think the better version of Tymna Thrasios isn't all in on Gaia's Cradle and just has it in there for value and maybe like one combo. But this deck is, I mean, hey, what do I know? This deck placed second in the past month, so Jordan Drake probably knows more. But not even probably. He definitely knows more about this deck, at least.
For Inoculus.
Does he know about doing his taxes, though? Let's see. Let's just see. Let's just see how the IRS plays out this next year. Watch me be in the news for like this local Magic player arrested for tax evasion. No, I swear it was just one mistake.
I swear I paid the heuristic study.
Yeah. The IRS local cEDH player sentenced to 10 years in jail for not paying heuristic study tax. But yeah, someone said this recently, and because I was like, I think TNT is a little bit better than people are giving it credit for. I think it's not as good as Blue Farm, but I think it's closer. And they said Blue Farm is playing the best colors, and they're playing the most efficient win cons in the format. TNT are playing maybe the second best color combination, but they're playing the least efficient win cons in our format. And I'm like, oh man, yeah, you're not wrong. It's not, when I say least efficient, I don't mean like something that's just terrible, but like all the infinite mana combos that you need to filter through Thrasios for this, they all require so much more setup.
Yeah.
You know, Emil and Derevi, that's 7 mana. And then you need to have Gaia's Cradle or like a Bloom Tender and enough creatures out to have enough colors or enough mana with Gaia's Cradle. Hazel's Brewmaster and Devoted Druid is a 6 mana combo. You still get to play Thassa's Oracle. I still think it's a great deck. I like the more sans red good stuff piles. I think that's the best version of it. And then you play like one Gaia's Cradle loop, like maybe Eternal Witness and Snap. Or, probably your Derevi and Emil, because those are just good cards in general.
Yeah.
That'll already be in the deck. And then, yeah, if you're Eternal Witness and then you're like, well, all I have to do is throw in Snap. Yeah. But I think playing stuff to generate extra tokens like Ocelot Pride and Charismatic Conqueror in a deck that you have access to 4 of the best color, 4 colors that you could be playing the absolute best cards in all of those colors, I think might be wasting a couple slots. But again, what do I know? Jordan took second. So can I really say that they don't know what they're doing? No, not at all. And then, yeah, whenever I critique someone's list, I never saying like, oh, this is a dumb choice. It's more so me saying, oh, I would think that this might be better. I would, for the general public, in a general statement, but maybe this player is really good at leveraging these loops and being able to combo off, at the opportune time. And that's another thing this deck has in common with Blue Farm is they can wait. They have so much card advantage, and they're playing blue in green, in white and black. They have all the best tutors, all of the best counter spells and silence effects. So they can really just hang out and wait until there's an opening and swoop in for the win.
So where would you put it on the list?
It's not as easy as Blue Farm, though. I'd even say I would maybe between Kinnan and Tivit. I don't know. What are you thinking?
Between Kinnan and Tivit? Honestly?
Yeah.
I was going to say the exact same thing. So.
Oh, perfect. Because, yeah, it's not as easy as Kinnan because you have to manage more colors and the infinite combo lines aren't as... They're a little more... You have to know which ones to pivot to, but I think it's easier to play the police with this deck than it is Tivit, because Tivit, you're just... Yeah, it's just a little harder. But, yeah, let's move on to... I put Rograkh and Dogthras on, and what I want to do is, while I think... the reason I actually just want to talk about one of them, but I want to preface it and say, while I think that Rograkh Thrasios is the slightly, and I mean ever so slightly, more powerful of the two, I think if we're going beginner friendly, I think Dogthras is the better option. Let's just check 3 months. Oh man, a lot of first places in the past.
Let's go with Ian Flannery.
Yeah.
Fucking big ZD win.
Yeah, that's a perfect one to do.
This is Comedian for people who don't know.
So
the guy that we've been talking about this whole fucking time.
Oh yeah, we mentioned him earlier. So both of these decks, these are the actual all-in Gaia's Cradle decks. That's why I was thinking that because you have access to black and more colors with TNT, I think they are... You should maybe have a Gaia's Cradle combo in your back pocket, but you can branch out to more generic good stuff piles. But going up to this, so go to the top, and then... So you have your Thrasios, and then you either pair it with Yoshimaru or Rograkh. I think having red and a free commander makes it more explosive. I think when you add even just having a 1 mana commander versus a free and white, it just slows the deck down slightly. But for a new player, this is way more resilient. You've got all of your silence effects that... Oh, go ahead.
The difference between running a Yoshimaru and Rograkh. Like, Rograkh, yeah, you can get out turn 1. You can do whatever. Yoshimaru is more of a... If I have nothing left to do in my turn, but I have 1 white mana open, I'm going to play Yoshimaru. Because it just helps with your fucking game plan. He doesn't do much. You just want him for the colors. He's like Silas. Except you would actually play Yoshimaru.
Yeah. Rograkh is just like, you're playing him like almost no matter what immediately, unless there's like no reason to or something. Like, but most of the time I'll always have like a Springleaf Drum or something that can tap a creature, or, oh, my Gaia's Cradle, I got it out super early, so I want... Yeah, like there's so many times where I can end up just getting both Thrasios and Rograkh out on that first turn. Yoshimaru, you're right. If you have nothing else to do, that's when you play him down, so you get that extra creature for Gaia's Cradle. You know, the counters don't matter. I think
they're like the points in Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Exactly. They just don't matter.
They just don't matter.
I think the other reason this is more beginner friendly is you have a lot more mana dorks in this one. You'll notice if you look at a Rog, which we don't have to pull up, but they don't really run all the mana dorks. You run Birds of Paradise, and that's about it. But this one runs Avacyn's Pilgrim, Delighted Halfling, Noble Hierarch, and Birds of Paradise. And then there's a lot little token generators and things like that. Rograkh tends to be a little bit more explosive. Yes, I actually took Kinnan out of my list. You find the rest of you won. And when I say rest of you, I just mean Trevor, you, and anyone else who ever criticized Kinnan.
We did it.
That's the running joke is you guys did it. You got me to take Kinnan out of a list. Because there was a period of time where I'm like, I'm playing Kinnan. I'm also playing Rograkh with Kinnan and Basalt in it. And then I was playing Thrasios Vile Smasher. And I'm like, well, it might as well have a backup infinite mana. It was mainly a turbo list. But I'm like, well, you got to have at least one infinite mana combo. So, well, Kinnan Basalt. I was literally having Kinnan in all three of my decks for cEDH. I have since branched out.
Thank God.
I've gone more all in on the Gaia's Cradle loops for my Rograkh list and is way better for it. I noticed that like Basalt Monolith was a dead card, and then Kinnan, I was like, well, I don't even have a dork out right now, and I only have a couple rocks. Is it worth tapping, wasting multiple mana for a Kinnan? And when I want to go really fast, and it just didn't do as much as I had hoped. So, I think this is the better option. But yeah, you have a little experience with this deck. How do you feel about it?
I have very little experience with this deck, so I think I've played it like 2 or 3 times. I think this is a really fun deck. I think this is a deck where you can... No, I think I prefer this to Rograkh because I like having white as a color, giving me the protection, giving me the Esper Sentinel. Oops, just zoomed in. Giving me those Voice of Victories and those Ranger Captains. Like, I like having that shit.
You get the Emil Derevi loops that I don't get to play in Rograkh.
Wargate is a really fun card because it's just tutors Gaia's Cradle immediately. This is an extra tutor you can get. This one isn't running that many rocks or mana pieces. It is running Expedition Map, which you will see in these Gaia Cradles decks. But like you run a lot of protection, and you're still running the Simic plan of get Gaia's Cradle out and untap it. You're running your Arboreal Breeze Colors and your Peregrine Drakes and your Sowing Microspawn to get their Gaia's Cradle, your Derevi to untap your Gaia's Cradle and combo with that shit. It's a really good deck. I don't know if I would give this to a new player. The new player would have to understand ways of looping Gaia's Cradle.
Which, it's not that they're super hard. It's more so that there's so many different ones and that they all require you to have different number of creatures. I don't even have them all memorized right now. Like the one with Eternal Witness and Snap, I think you need 7 creatures. And then the one with a Borrowed Breeze Caller, you need 6. And then the Emil Derevi, you only need 4? Because Emil's ability only costs 3 to activate. So that's, if you have 4, you're netting. So yeah, it's different for every single one. And someone might be like, I think I win right here.
No, this is me. I think for placement on the list, because I do remember we gave this deck to Andrew one time, and then we were trying to explain him the loops, and we were just like, you need to look out for this card, but you also need to look out for this card. And then also look out for this card. And then also this card works. And then this card's also a combo. It's just like there's just a lot. So I might actually put this further down on the list than I think was originally expecting.
I think easier than so I'm not saying between Rogsai and Tivit, but let's just go from the bottom. Easier than Magda. Easier than Rogsai.
Easier than Magda. Easier than Rogsai. I would actually
it's like
put it between Rogsai and Tivit. I think being the cop at the table is easier than understanding
we have given this to someone
layered combos.
So my only thing, I was actually going to say more so it's between TNT and Tivit, just because TNT can be a little more generic, but I think being the cop is a little harder, and knowing what to counterspell and when is way harder than saying, hey, don't worry about that as much, but you're just trying to get as much value off of Gaia's Cradle, because all they have to know is have a list of the 2 card combos that pair with Gaia's Cradle, and there's so many good cards that will feed into it. Like, oh, I got Biomancer's Familiar. They'll just keep activating Thrasios. Oh, well, now it's cheaper. Oh, I got Cloud of Fairies. Well, I'll untap it. And then I got a clone. Well, I can clone my Cloud of Fairies. Honestly, that's the secret to winning with these decks, I think. I've done that. Do you know what the best... It's Springheart Nantuko. Please tell me they have it. Yes, they do. This, you attach this, you bestow this to Cloud of Fairies. And then, so it has landfall where you pay 1 in green and you make a token copy. So you keep activating Thrasios, but you actually have it where when you see a land on top, you just leave it and you have that land enter tapped. And then you pay 2 mana to create a token copy of Cloud of Fairies, which untaps, Gaia's Cradle and maybe like your command tower. Tap those again, and then now you're adding a token copy of Cloud of Fairies every time. So you're getting more mana from your Gaia's Cradle, and you can just keep activating Thrasios and have all your lands enter and keep doing that. It honestly, I've ended up like winning some games with that, and I'm like, oh, dude, this is so easy. Just get Cloud of Fairies. It's better than like, and then eventually you'll stumble into, oh, there's my Burrow Breeze Caller and my Talon Gates. Okay, I just win. Or there's my Emil and my Derevi. Okay, now I can close it out. I think Gaia's Cradle, then Cloud of Fairies early game is your best bet, because then every clone, if you get this, anything that can bounce Cloud of Fairies and recast it, you just end up winning. But yeah, I would put this between Tivit and TNT, because it's still easier for a new player to kind of just play it. It still plays itself to some degree.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'll agree to put it there.
And then we're almost out of time, but let's really quickly go over Najeela. And I know I'll probably get some flack for this, because you'll see Najeela is quite far down the list. People aren't playing Najeela anymore.
I wonder why.
It was once a boogeyman in the format. Oh my God.
There we go. From July. We'll go for this one.
Those were some... Not blaming the player. I've had horrible tournament placements myself, but when you're playing a commander like Kinnan and there's 500 other Kinnan decks that are playing in the past 3 months, you kind of get lost in the rough there.
Lost in the sauce a bit.
Here's the thing with Najeela. It's not good in the meta right now. It's been struggling for a while, mainly because we're kind of on the twilight of a mid-range hell meta where there's a lot of creatures out, and Najeela needs open battlefields, so you can swing with Najeela and your 1/1 white warrior tokens and keep creating more and over and over and over again, and eventually going infinite. But I do think Najeela, for a beginner player, it's, even though you have access to all 5 colors, it's only 3 mana and it's only 2 in a red to cast her. You can get her out turn 2 almost every game, it feels like. Turn 1 dork, turn 2 land, and you have your 2 lands and the dork, or a Soul Ring, or any piece of ramp on turn 1 and 2 lands, and you have a turn 2 Najeela. You can even get turn 1 Najeela sometimes. I think it's super easy to tell someone, hey, if you don't know what to do, cast Najeela and start attacking and just keep doubling up on your warriors. That's all you have to do. And then you just tell them to, the second you can tutor for it, you get Derevi. And you win the game. And or Grim Hireling. That works too. And then there's some enchantments. I don't wonder if they're on the, what is it? Druids something? No, they're not. I don't blame them. I honestly think the creature ones are better because they're easier to tutor. But yeah, no, this is like, I think this is more fun for a new player. It's kind of, honestly, it's very similar to Yuriko, where I think it's slightly more complicated than Yuriko, but it's really easy to tell someone like, hey, you just get Najeela out and start attacking, and then this is how the infinite combo works. And you might not win as many games, but I do think when the meta shifts, this will become good again. Because there was a point where Najeela was winning constantly. It was actually like tied with Blue Farm for like the best deck in the format. Like if you go back a year or two, maybe. Like let's just go back a year. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 7th. So I mean, tons of top 16s here. And then I know all time might be going a little bit far, but I don't think EDH top 16's even been around for too long. But look, back to 2023, first, second. I mean, it was at one point, I think, the second best deck in the format next to Blue Farm. And that was during a turbo meta, because you're not going to have a bunch of creatures like in a mid-range game plan, that's going on more so now. So you can swing in and you can get Najeela, and then you had things like Mana Crypt and Jeweled Lotus, and you could get turn 1 Najeelas all the time. That's really what hurt it. I think that hurt it, and then the mid-range hell really pushed Najeela down. But I lost in this past year. I lost to Najeela in a tournament towards the beginning of the year. Came out of nowhere. I
always lose to Najeela.
Yeah, I think
Najeela, even in this meta, is still terrifying. You go up against a Najeela player, you're like, I don't know if you're got nothing in hand, or you're just gonna drop a Grim Hireling and then win. Like, I don't know.
And yeah, in any opening, it does get to a point where if they get enough warrior tokens early on, and then you can play a bunch of other stuff like Chatterfang. Yeah. That's a warrior, and it doubles up on your tokens. Oh yeah, which gives you extra warriors. Amazing. Now, those are already tapped and attacking, so you won't get this. But if you can, let's say you're really close to your combo, but you don't have enough to go off, well, you can still swing with your Voice of Victory, get the 2 tapped and attacking red warriors, pay 5 mana into this, untap all of them, and then they get haste, and those 2 warriors can attack again along with all the other ones, and then you do actually generate additional warrior tokens for all of the attacking ones. So yeah, and then you have weird things like Gornog, which is hilarious. I see a lot of players playing this for the meme, but it's also really good. And then you have Cutsil, which is another silence effect, and it's a cat warrior. And Professional Facebreaker, oh, look at that, it's a warrior.
It's a warrior.
And Samut, warrior.
And a warrior.
If
and
any of them deal combat damage, yeah, you draw a card. So I think this deck is way more fun and easy. It's another one of those ones that, like, if I was going to give, like, my dad or mom or something that were like, I have no idea how to even play Magic, and we're like, hey, this is how, like, lands work, and this is how here's Najeela. Just play it and read it and just start attacking and getting warriors. They'd be able to play that. They'd be like, oh, okay. We have our friend Matt, who's not new to Magic, but is very, very new to cEDH, will play with us maybe like once a month or once every couple months, and is like, I'm not really familiar with all the combos in the meta, but like I kind of know. But he chooses to play Najeela and is very threatening because it's like, well, I don't have to worry about all that other crap. I'm just going to get Najeela out and keep swinging until you die. So yep. I actually think it's right around the Yuriko area in terms of beginner friendly.
I would say, so I know you wanted to do two lists, one being beginner friendly and one being what you would recommend a new player.
Well, we're going to recommend three at the end of this. I think what we should do. So let's just finish. Let's just do okay. Let's do like, what's the most friendly strictly Yuriko, with mechanics?
I think Yuriko is better user friendly, but like, I feel like Najeela just performs better. And if I was going to give a player a deck, I would want them to play Najeela over Yuriko.
Yes. Okay. Then let's put Najeela right under Yuriko, so between Yuriko and Blue Farm.
Okay, fair enough.
Because really, as a beginner player, the you could say it's slightly like more complicated with the managing of when to attack and not like risking. Because sometimes people are like, well, I don't want to lose any of my warriors, and it's like, no, it is worth, because you'll pressure their board and you'll create another warrior anyways, and next turn you'll. And then managing 5 colors, but you really only need to worry about getting red and then maybe like green, so you can get some of your dorks out, and things like Derevi. So, okay. List from most friendly to least friendly, strictly by mechanics and how the decks play. We have Yuriko, Najeela, Blue Farm, Etali, Kinnan, TNT, Dogthras, Tivit, Rograkh, Magda. Now, if you
I wouldn't
had
change
to
anything about that.
Use same, I think and we both were basically like, whenever someone would say this is where I'd put it, we were like, yeah, I agree. Or maybe there was like I'd maybe put it one up or one down. So we're both like, our heads were in the right place. Like we were thinking the same thing. Now, based on performance, because you do want to factor in a little bit of performance, let's pick 3 decks to actually recommend.
Let's do this. 3 decks that, let's say they're a new player, they know how to play Magic, they haven't played cEDH, they don't know Commander that well, or they've played a few games of Commander, but they new to cEDH. But they're going to a tournament. What 3 decks would you recommend them play?
Off the top of my head,
in no particular order.
In no particular order, I almost want to say, and they're all back to back on the list, Najeela, Blue Farm, and Etali.
Yeah, I would say the same.
Because once the farther you go down, it starts becoming more complicated. The only other change, I could see a lot of people saying to make, is Blue Farm, Etali, Kinnan. Because Najeela, while being the easiest one that's worth playing, you're not going to do well in a tournament. I think it depends on, like, if the meta keeps shifting towards more of a turbo meta, that might turn around. And hey, if you're at a table with a Rograkh player, you just keep attacking the Rog. You don't have to attack everyone else until you have your infinite combo and you have so many warriors that it doesn't matter. You're making 64 warriors every time you swing. It doesn't matter if they block a bunch of them with their big creatures. Eventually, you're just going to open the infinite combo still goes off. As long as you have one turbo player that's wide open, you can win with Najeela. So I don't think it's as hard as people think it is to get. And actually, the game that I lost in the tournament to Najeela, there was a Rograkh player at the table, and they were wide fucking open, and Najeela just attacked them until they had hundreds of warriors, and then said, okay, well, I will start attacking the rest of you, and won. So, yeah, I think Najeela, Blue Farm, Etali, and maybe if you wanted to swap out Najeela for Kinnan. But I think if you look at the numbers,
I would agree
though,
with you.
Kinnan,
Najeela, Blue Farm, Etali is where I at.
I think if you look at the numbers, Kinnan has a bad, even though it's like second to Blue Farm in the format, in my opinion, of like the second best deck. If you look at the conversion rate of Blue Farm,
sneezing and coughing.
No, you're good. Blue Farm has a great conversion rate, specifically because a shitload of people bring it, and while you do have a couple very, very new players, maybe bringing it down the percentage a little bit, I think the new players will play better with something like Blue Farm than something like Kinnan. You'll see a lot of Kinnan's entries in a tournament, and you'll see like 3 make the top 16, but you'll see like 5 of them that did not place very well at all. So I think that just goes to show, even though Kinnan is very much wins just very close to the same amount as Blue Farm, but his conversion rate is worse because when beginner players take it to a tournament, it's not as easy for them to play. So yeah, those would be my 3 for 2026. If you're getting into now, if I was going to pick one to really recommend someone that's like, I want to pick a deck and not only like just start off this, but I want to learn this deck and play with it for a long time. I think Blue Farm is always going to be relevant. Then I'd say Etali, and I'd say Najeela is more so if someone's like, hey, I just want to get my feet wet with cEDH. I'm going to proxy up a list and just play a couple games once in a while, and I don't have to think too hard. I think Najeela is probably the best bet. That's the best option for that. If you want something that's going to be eternally playable and, I'm going to proxy it up or buy the cards, you're going to get a lot of staples from Blue Farm that even if you decide to pivot to something like Rograkh or Kefka or just any other, or even like Tivit, you're going to have all of the Esper Shell staples. You're going to have all of the Grixis Turbo staples. That's really the reason that Blue Farm's so good, is it's basically taking the grindy policing control staples of Esper and all of the fast turbo explosivity of Grixis, and you're combining it.
Yeah. I think the way that I would put this is that Najeela, Blue Farm, Etali, those are my recommended, pick that. But if you're new to this format, you want to get into it, I just go on this website, EDH Top 16, most popular in the past 3 months. Scroll down, look through these lists, find one you vibe with, and then just go with it. Because you only get better when you practice a deck.
Yep.
And you only learn how to actually play the game when you have a deck that you're good with. So, that's my recommendation. Is find what you vibe with, and then just stick with it for a little bit.
That was very well put. I couldn't have said it better myself. That is absolutely, at the end of the day, you don't have to take our word for any of that. Pick something that you like, that you're going to stick with, even if it is a little more complicated. If you're like, yeah, dude, I really like Tivit. I just like the idea behind, I don't care if I have to learn policing the table, and it's going to be a little rough at first, and I'm going to counter the wrong things, and my Tivit's going to get countered, and I don't get to do anything that in certain games. It's okay. You'll get better at it. cEDH is not something that you pick up and are immediately good at. You're going to suck for a while.
Yeah.
We still suck. And we have a fucking podcast. So you're going to be fine.
To quote one of the best shows ever made, Adventure Time, sucking at something is the first step of being sort of good at something.
Yeah. Yeah, damn right.
So
jump right in. And honestly, this was a long episode, but I had a blast going over it. At 2.5 hours or almost flew by.
Oh, yeah. Now, if we were talking... Oh, never mind.
Oh, my.
I was going to say, if we're talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! Fucking Chaos Turbo all the way. Let's go.
Well, yeah. Well, you just need to play that one Chaos card. The fucking Buster Blader, right? Or not Buster
BLS? Blackluster Soldier?
Blackluster, yeah. BLS, Blackluster Soldier. And you'll just win. That's the blue farm of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Your opponent will steal it and then win off of your Blackluster Soldier.
Oh, yeah, you gotta love that. That's what happens in this game all the time. People steal they'll Gilded Drake, your Magda, your Kinnan, all that stuff. So, do the thing. You're better at it.
Well, this is a kind of weird thing because it's more of like, this is our first video of the year, and we've done this for about a year now. I think our first episode came out like January 16th or something.
I think so.
I could be wrong about that. But, so we've done this for a year. We got 300 subscribers. We did 30 videos, plus a bunch of shorts. So I think our total is like 41 videos.
But we have 30 episodes of our podcast.
We have 30 episodes. This is our 31st. So our goal for this year, I think we were saying about 3 episodes a month. So that'll be 36 episodes. Maybe we'll set a limit. We want to do another 30 at least. But we're going to shoot for 36 this year.
Yeah, 3 episodes a month. That way I don't have to do one every week. Because I've got a lot of other stuff going on outside. Plus, we both work full time.
Yeah.
Sometimes I travel for work. Most of the time I don't. So I have time to edit these. But I've got a bunch of other stuff going on. We're both musicians, and I picked up doing martial arts in the past 4 months here. So yeah, there's always shit going on in our lives.
And I'm moving again.
Oh, God damn it. Stop moving. Just move back to Illinois. Just move back here.
Maybe. I mean,
be my neighbor.
A pretty shitty winter.
Yeah, better than goddamn Seattle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say it. Fuck Seattle.
Yeah, fuck Seattle. Also...
Anyways, I think another goal that we should reach for is, I think, 1,000 subscribers for this year.
I would love to. I think if we do 36, so if we got, I think it was the stats were about 30,000 views. So it'll be, I like how it's all in 30 episodes plus a couple shorts, over 30,000 views, slightly over 300 subscribers. If we could slightly over double that, so more so get to that 700 to 800 range, which would mean that our third year we would definitely hit 1,000. If we can hit 1,000, fuck yeah. But we also, another thing to add to that statistic, that'll be a nice segue, is we also got one patron, Champ Pharos.
We do have one patron.
Our boy.
Champ Pharos.
Which is like, thank you so much. That's such a monumental thing, like getting that first patron, and just been great commenting on all the videos, joining in the discussion. I love to see that shit. I wish more people, I do love when people comment. I wish more people would, but I know everyone, like most people are like, oh, I don't comment on videos. I just listen and then I disappear into the wind. But and that's okay. We're just happy
like
that people are even watching, like a fart in the wind. But Cham Pharos, you are the opposite of a fart in the wind. You are a... I can't think of it. I was just going to say something terrible, like a turd in a non-windy day. But you're not a turd. You're amazing. So
I was going to say a fart in a closet, but you're not a fart either.
No. Oh, man. We have to. I'm going to do a separate recorded outro that thanks you properly, so you don't have to have this be your goddamn tribute. But no, seriously, I think the other goal should be to have maybe if we just get 2 more patrons. I mean, obviously, 1 million patrons, sure, but if we even just get double what we got this year, we have a couple more people, $1 a month. I mean. Just so we can pay the little, podcasting site fee for hosting us and spreading it to all the places. I mean, I don't care about making money on this. I just want this to grow and to help people learn to play cEDH. But yeah, the more we do it, the more people will reach. But yeah, no, I think if we can get to 1,000 this year, awesome. If not, I think it'll for sure happen towards the beginning or the middle of our 3rd year. But yeah, we've got all the social media things, just whatever, Blue Sky, Twitter, X.
Oh, another.
We're never on them. That should be your goal. That should be your goal. Is to
my goal, since I'm the social media manager, I'm going to post more on my social media accounts.
How about you just post it all?
But I'm probably going to limit the number of social media accounts we have. So I'm going to get rid of TikTok. Finally.
Yeah, fuck TikTok. You know, I was for a while, I was like, we might as well just keep it. No, fuck you. I'm protesting TikTok. Fuck TikTok. Kiss our ass.
Blue Sky, I never go on, but I'll still post there occasionally. And then Instagram and X are the 2 that I go on the most, and I'll make sure to start posting more often on those. Essentially, anytime I'll post something on X or Twitter, I don't know why I just called it X. I always call it Twitter. If I ever post something on Twitter, it's going to be posted on Blue Sky.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Someone's shit.
And then we'll try and put some of our shorts on. Well, let's do some more shorts this year. I don't want to become a shorts channel, but I think it does help for promotion. Just get some stuff out there. So, yeah, I think I'm excited for this new year. I think there's going to be some new players. There's some big tournaments coming up. Man, this episode's going to be long as shit. We won't go into details, but I think this year there might be some record-breaking tournaments. The format keeps expanding. It's starting to get a little more attention. I know Wizards of the Coast is actually starting to kind of be like, well, cEDH is relevant. So yeah, I hope big things to come. I have a couple, Trevor, I haven't even talked to you about this, but I have some potential guests that would like to be on. So, yeah.
Oh, wonderful. I always love guests.
Yeah, we got to do that more this year. We should have at least 3 of our episodes, if not more, with guests. But, yeah.
I think we did 3 or 4 guests.
We did, actually, because, yeah, we had plenty. We had... Frank came on. Andrew came on. We had Jesse from Go to Combat MTG came on, and we had Jose from Blight. Yeah. So yeah, let's try and top that. Great, let's try and get 5 guests.
Creating a YouTube channel, and then people from the community just contacting us, being like, "Hey, do you want to do a collab video or something?" And so like, yeah, of course we do.
Yeah, that sounds absolutely great. Oh yeah, and we had my wife. She filled in for you when you were sick or something. So we had 5 guests. All right, then we have to do 6.
All right, so we got to do 6 guests. And yeah, those are our goals for this channel. It's been a hell of a year, Ian.
Hell of a year. All right.
Yeah.
As always, we will see you in hell, nerds.